Hi, greetings from Houston. That's not my truck. Crazy week for news flow, and very difficult actually to come up with a firm conclusion because it's not obvious why Hamas did what it's done in Israel other than the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War in 73, and probably objection on the part of likely Iran to Saudi mooting the establishment of diplomatic relations with Israel. So that clearly seems to be part of what's gone on here. But in itself, for oil, notwithstanding the risk, obviously, of a conflagration in the Middle East, Israel, Palestine is not that directly significant to oil. And to add to the confusion, you've had the market basically rallying strongly on treasuries rallying, that is yields going down, which has been negative for oil. And it's just very hard to make sense of that because ultimately we were very bullish oil and bullish oil equities on the inflation trade. And of course now that's becoming a potential negative. Additionally, as you know, oil sold off just so hard. I mean, we knew gasoline cracks were weak, but we didn't expect oil to go down $10 in 10 days. And that's been a surprise as well. And one of the issues has been that we've been saying maybe the dollar-oil relationship is broken. And as soon as you say that, with the dollar strong, oil collapses. And you're like, oh, maybe I should never have said that. So it's a very tough tape to call. And then additionally, we have the uncertainty of the Exxon Pioneer deal, which, I spoke to Wall Street Journal. They seem highly convicted that it's going to happen. But the price just doesn't look that good. And, what we're seeing is a real pattern here that we've talked about in our research of oil companies selling themselves more for management, sell-off, personal reasons kind of thing, with Scott Sheffield retiring from Pioneer being the obvious example in this case. But really not great multiples, and that's been fundamentally quite bearish for the sector. So I've got to be honest with you and say I'm struggling a bit here to give you a strong oil call. It's just a kind of tough tape at the moment, and I don't see why that would change, because the mega themes of things like inflation going the opposite way than you might expect, the valuations of Pioneer, Exxon, all those things are somewhat negative. But oil's come down a lot, and whilst we did understand that the gasoline crack was extremely weak, it does seem to have been a huge move relative to what was weak US gasoline. I mean, it wasn't we knew gasoline was weak. We didn't expect oil to sell off $10 a barrel. So it's tough. Things are pretty good in Houston. They've got a pretty good handle on homeless here, actually, I would say, compared to, for example, San Francisco. But the mood here is not particularly bullish either, unfortunately. So, hopefully next week I'll be able to come up with a strong call, but this week I just kind of don't have one. And, what can you do with a Middle Eastern situation with a deal that's not happening or isn't being finalized? It's just one of those weeks, unfortunately. But I'm here in Houston. Have a great week.